where I would also then start giving you little snippets of the work that I have done then for whoever was able to give me a chance. And then it built like that, builds into a portfolio. By the time I worked in my first agency, I could show them my experience using phones. So they were like, okay, then you have a content POV, you understand what content looks like, you understand what it should be packaged as. So you will understand how to integrate a brand, essentially.
From Kona Jutende Pia, Imi Nomsindis Wesi, Umvelisa Ngango Melis Wesizwe, formerly known as Lwazi Madonsela, bringing you a show about creative entrepreneurs live from the landmark that not only birth SA street culture, but also formalize the street hustle.
Kona Jutende Thank God for the savings. This is a very, very, very special episode brought to you by the good folks at Samsung. Call me Sam, because he's Sam.
Oh gosh, it's hand.
We have Fawziya Sofiana. How you doing?
Yeah, Pila. How about yourself?
I'm great. It's a very interesting moment for me, right? The Samsung partnership has brought us to a very, very interesting point and moment.
Yes.
For me as a human, before I am a creator and the lead for the podcast.
That's cool.
One, it's like, it's Samsung, right? Two, it's really, really Samsung. And for the first time in history, I feel like I'm part of the Samsung story, not as a consumer, but as someone who adds towards it, right? So we were tasked to tell the story of how creators can create using the power of Galaxy AI.
Yes.
And to tell that story at its fullest and at its best, we have Fawziya Sofiana. It always needs to end with Samsung. Also, before we go too far, just comment AI Create. I have something for you. No, for real, we have something for you. I think my journey with Samsung started with simply the most purest point. The things in the house, all Samsung, the whole ecosystem growing up. Yeah.
You had the TVs, you had the microwave,
it was a different
economy.
It was a very different economy. We had the whole ecosystem, and then, lo and behold, here comes the Beyonce. E250 is introduced.
Oh, that's your B.
That's the Beyonce. It's introduced. That's the first time with Bluetooth. Like, no, Chalet design is so close. Like, I want to be close to share.
Yeah.
And Samsung to Samsung was always known to be like the fastest way of sharing anything. So this is the Bluetooth era. I finally get my second-hand one because, you know, it was a bit pricey for a kid at that stage.
Which one was it?
Was the E250.
Oh, but with second-hand, you got it from like your sibling or like how
It
did
was
you
a
get
little hand-me-down from my mom. It was a little hand-me-down. She was like, you know what, I see you. Fit in with the other kids, have your device, do your thing. And then it grows, it goes. We get to the S edition, get the S4 Mini.
Ooh.
And then I inherit another S4 Mini because we were like, we are a Samsung family. We trust Samsung.
You had two
from the microwave. Yes.
Minis.
Remember, there used to be an era where cellular companies used to sell 2-for-1s, those contracts. There used to be contracts where you could get 2 phones for. It's a different economy now.
Okay, true. It's a little blurry in my mind. I'm trying to throw back to it.
But it got to that point where I got the S4 Mini. I was like, okay, cool. This is a great ecosystem. And then now I'm growing older. I'm finally getting to my own appliances. And this is when we enter the best era for me. It's when I bought my first TV.
Oh, what was it? What is it?
Can only guess. It's a Serif, right?
Serif.
So I get a Serif. Yeah, I'm at the shop. This man is showing me this big TV. I'm like, nah. I want the artist TV. I want the TV that talks to me. I'm a fly dude. I want to put it there. It's crazy. I saw it from Fatuana's story. Like, yo, that TV. I DM'd Gabs of the story. I'm like, yo, that TV.
And you fell in love.
I fell in love, and I think when the money was right, I made it happen for myself.
Let me get it.
And to come to this moment where Samsung is also allowing me to make it happen for other people by telling these stories, by telling the world what you guys are trying to do as Future Gen Lab, what you're trying to tell us.
Love it. Listen, I'm here for your journey with Samsung, you know. Everybody always has a Samsung journey where they know that it's around them, but it's been around. So hearing yours is actually quite a 360 moment, full circle for us, right?
It's the perfect one. It's like, at first it was like, yes, the things are around me. Then it was, yes, I have the thing. Now it's like, wait, I need the thing. I want it. It's everything now.
And guess what?
We're here.
Sila.
We're here. I think your journey is the most beautiful one to tell, besides your role as head of marketing for Future Gen Lab.
I'm actually the creative marketing manager.
My bad.
Yeah, at Future Gen Lab, FGL for sure.
with your journey at FGL, trying to empower creatives and investing in the next generation of creatives.
Yeah.
Would you explain that to the audience for us, please?
So, in a nutshell, FGL is Samsung's exploratory marketing lab. I'm going to underline exploratory there, right? Because the things that we do have room for improvement. Some of them have been fabulous and some of them are definitely learning curves. But we're tasked with connecting Samsung with the next generation of the African consumer. We have Future Gen family across the globe, actually in all of our regional headquarters. But here in Africa, it's myself and Anisu Melissa, who is our head of FGL. So I always try and break it down for people, and I'm like, how can I make it easier for you to digest so you can sort of see what it is we do, think about it? And there's 3 pillars I can sort of guide you with. It's our research. It's the first one, where obviously Gen Z is like a buzzword now. Everybody, Gen Z here, Gen Z that. But we still were at a point where we had to figure out, who are these Gen Zs? What do they actually want from a brand like Samsung? What makes them tick? So that's like our first pillar, right? Then we also do campaigns and content, which is more of formulating a communication style. Like, how do we speak in a way that's going to resonate, in a way that you're going to relate so that, it sticks. And then we also do bold experiments, which is unlike the research part of the pillars, where we are still trying to figure it out. With bold experiments, we know now which are the brands, which are the creators, which are the people that Gen Zs gravitate towards. And so we partner with them to create new experiences and activate and, collaborate in different ways. So it's all about being different, but not necessarily replacing traditional ways of marketing, just like, turning it up a little bit. So the trend forecasting, so we can bring it back to business and be like, you know what, this is coming up. We've tried it. This is what it looks like. And we bring it back to the business. And that's the long and the short of Future Gen.
The Future Gen Lab.
Yeah.
How do you target the future? How would you tell the story of what's about to happen? Because you guys essentially are trend forecasters.
Yeah.
As a creative entrepreneur.
Try to be, definitely.
How has your journey been from when you came from studying everything to getting to the point where you go to Digify?
Oh, yeah.
How would you explain that journey for someone at home who's like, okay, cool, I'm currently studying this creative industry. I want to participate and finally get to that point where corporate is allowing me to allow others to do amazing things.
Similar to what we're doing with AI Create, actually. It all started for me with...
Comment AI Create. I beg. I'm going to do something for you.
Get the more share of a side note. Comment, by the way. Similar to what we're doing with AI Create, it all started with the right device for me. So when I left varsity, I studied at Boston Media House. The course itself was so general because you could do so many things there. It was advertising, radio, this, that. So when I left, I ended up leaving with a journalism degree, right? And it was like, how do I put this into motion? How do I kind of work in a world where it's kind of turning digital? It wasn't too much of what I pictured journalism to be back in the day, which was I'm going to be on the ground, I'm going to write stories. It wasn't too much that was accessible to me at that moment. So I had to utilize the phone, which was my graduation present. Do you know what phone it was?
Did it have a pen?
It did have a pen, and it was.
Because if it's a grad gift, it's always a grand gift.
It was super grand, right?
Which one was it?
It was a Note 5.
Oh, you have money, huh?
Okay, listen. I did well in school, and I did super well in school, and my parents at that time, they were like, Dana, not the phone. Because up until then, actually, the phone situation was super hand-me-down. Never really had one that was handed to me. So when I got the Note 5, it really was my way to unlock a career. I had to figure out what's happening, how are people even maneuvering around. So when I got to Johannesburg and landed at Digify, it was a digital boot camp. They used to teach us how to brand yourself, how to pitch, what brands are actually looking for in the digital era now, or where everything is transitioning to a super digital era. So I used to go around to businesses within Braamfontein, pitching that, listen, I am a full-scale agency, me, myself, and my Note 5, right? I can do social media strategy. Not only can I do social media strategy, I can implement it for you via capturing your content, via editing your content, because I was really into the doodling back then, taking an image and just making it pizzazz. So I used to sell that a lot to people and saying, listen, not only can I capture it, I can make it look great, and I'll post it for you. So that's how it started out, and I moved along from, place to place that I've worked, and phones were still a huge part.
Sorry to interject, but I think the most important question right now in this whole journey is, what's it like when you go and sell your ideas that, I can do this? What were the struggles you faced as a young creative at that stage? And what do you think?
The reluctancy, because I guess nobody sees it the way that you do at that time. When I'm selling you a digital rollout where people were still kind of used to the traditional way of marketing, it was like, just this phone, Sissy, you're going to use this one phone. And the reluctancy was something I had to definitely sell them on, and believe in me and let me show you then. So it definitely got to the show, don't tell part, where I would also then start giving you little snippets of the work that I have done then for whoever was able to give me a chance. And then it built like that, builds into a portfolio. By the time I worked in my first agency, I could show them my experience using phone. So they were like, okay, then you have a content POV, you understand what content looks like, you understand what it should be packaged as, so you will understand how to integrate a brand, essentially. So I come from the essentially freelancing and learning how to monetize on my own. And when I started working in agency, they would show me how then the brand and creative mix and how they're really making everything work on the scene together. So it was all making sure that people kind of believe in me and this one phone. And then the journey progressed and kind of manifested this job.
How do you even price? Because a lot of us hit that brick wall.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, cool. You do it. You do it for free.
Yeah.
You do it partially for free. Then someone is finally willing to pay because you now somewhat have a resume. How did you get to that point where you could actually price? Because these are the problems that are still facing creatives years after you've gone through that hurdle.
Till this day. I won't lie, at the beginning it was super hard. I was kind of just taking what I could take, even just for the point of building some type of a portfolio. So once I had enough and I sort of started creating the value for myself, I was like, at the minimum, this is what I need. And I'm definitely not asking for too much, right? I had to also get accustomed to telling myself that this is bare minimum, actually. If you're getting what you would essentially pay one person to do, let's say if we talk about it from an agency POV, there'd be a copywriter, there'd be somebody editing the content. So once I started realizing how full scale what I was doing is, it became easier for me to sort of relay it to the other people or whoever I'm talking to. This is actually what you're getting. Stop looking at it as like a social media post. This is what goes into it. So they started seeing the value like that, and it grew and it grew. And I was able to get to a point where I realized, I'm kind of lit.
Now you lit.
No.
Now you land this dream job.
Yo, yeah.
How is this job enabling you to continue creating?
Well, it gives me opportunity to still work with creatives. I've never really let go of that creative side, right? It just kind of transitioned into where I am at the moment. So it opens up the doors with collaborating with brands and creators alike, which is still a huge core part of what I'm crafting my career to be, putting together amazing partnerships, putting together amazing, impactful, authentic movements with creatives. So it gives me that opportunity, hence we landed on AI Create, right? Where it's all about allocating the right resources and spaces.
Once again, comment AI Create. No, I'm really going to give them something.
No, it gives me...
Whoever does it the most.
What is it going to be, though?
Samsung.
I would say it. So it gives me the opportunity to be part of Gen Zers day ones. I want to essentially be part of the success journey of creatives. That's what we really aspire to do here at Future Gen B or day ones, as opposed to now you're popping, now you just want to jump on because you've got some type of hype. It allows me to grow with creatives, and it also gives me, seriously, the advantage of being able to allocate resources and spaces for creatives to really flourish and do the most. And for this particular campaign, it's going to be via Galaxy AI. So, we can see what creatives can do with their self-expression, self and creative expression with the device.
Speaking of creators, speaking of day ones, I create, let's say I take photos, let's say I make music, let's say I do most things most creatives do these days, which is copy, edit, post, promote, right?
Yeah.
How do I become a day one? Because you're speaking of day ones. What would we say is the archetype if we had to build the day one that Future Gen is looking at? Not to say we're gonna give you the through ball to Future Gen, but just to say if you wanted to align yourself.
I'm not gonna go as far as a particular archetype. Kind of like people for their niches. So again, there's step one, find your niche, grow it, and figure out what your style is. And then it's also really important to be authentic. A wise man told me that authenticity is currency. The wise man may be in the room, who knows? He told me that authenticity is currency. And I believe that. So it might feel like going with the wave and doing what everybody else is doing is easier because it's tried and trusted and it's worked for some people that you've seen. But really, you just kind of get lost in the noise with that. So the more you stand out and do your own thing, the better. Authenticity. And then networking and collaborating really does. They collaborate with artists and creatives alike that do the same thing as you do. And you really do start making that buzz. And then who knows who's going to pick you up?
Those are the steps to align yourself. What does it mean for a brand as big as Samsung to actually be going out of their way to say, actually, we're creating this department to empower the next generation of creatives? What's that word even from higher up? Like, what's the actual mandate that we need to know? Because we see all this great work, we see all these great campaigns, but what's the reasoning behind all of that?
They're really trying to get to connect with the next generation, right, of the African consumer. This presentation, when we're talking, it's like where Future Gen is the tugboat in the front, and Samsung is the big ship at the back, and then we're connected. So we kind of just go out and go through the waves so that we can bring it back to the business, and they can see from the POV of Gen MZs on the ground, really connecting with Gen MZs, what matters to Gen MZs. And when I say MZ, I'm just referring to millennials and Gen Z together. Made up a cute little acronym for us there.
What is Galaxy AI for us, the creators? Because it seems to be marketed at us, all the features it has, how fast it is, how convenient it is, and all in one device.
It has a little bit of something for everybody, but for creatives, which is what we're doing with Future Gen, it is your enabler to express your highest level of creativity. This is what we're trying to do with AI Create. And you know how it's coming to life, right? Via the podcast, where we get to partner with creatives like yourself, and we put the device in their hands and they get to highlight what Galaxy AI can unlock for them. Which is going to look like for this particular one with our two creatives that we're working with, Shanae Africa and Sana Matawi. So you're familiar with them?
I know Sana from the hood.
From the hood.
I know Sana from the hood.
He's working with us on this particular campaign because he has a keen eye for camera and telling stories from a super awesome narrative-driven POV. So that's his thing, and he's moving into the whole sort of mobile videography. Did I say that right? That word actually kicks me off most of the time. Videography. Yeah. So he's moving into the space of mobile videography, and he wanted to use what he felt like was the best camera, mobile camera out there. And guess what? He wasn't wrong in choosing this particular one. So you know what? AI Create came together, and we're like, okay, there's a space, there's a resource coming together.
How does AI Create come about?
How did it come about?
People are always curious of the backstories. Like, we have these great minds. We have Shanae. Shanae's work's been published in books. We have Sana. Sana's directed commercials and short films. We have Lozi, and Lozi's just phenomenal.
Was fun. How it came about was really just looking for the right creatives that will authentically fit with this, and using the features that we're trying to call out that will not hinder their process, sort of make it better. So when we were looking around for who to partner with, because we're actually super intentional in that part, we're always keeping our ear to the ground to be like, who's doing what, and sort of how can what they do and what we're trying to do come together to do something amazing. So AI Create came from that, because we just wanted to make sure that we put our phone and Galaxy AI in the right creatives, in the hands of the right creators, who'll be able to tell authentic, awesome, engaging stories.
Reflecting on my journey in regards to Samsung AI Create, but more specifically you, I think the first time I see you was at Adweek. You're on a panel with Drew and Black Sparrow.
That's last year now.
People. Yes.
GDT.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I see you last year, we communicated at some stage, we finally connect, and you're trying to tell this big story of what Samsung is and what Samsung could be for us in real time. When you're looking towards what you guys are trying to do and trying to achieve with AI Create, what would you say you wanted to be the takeaway for the audience members?
So I know there's a little bit of reluctancy around AI in general, especially in regards to creatives. Oh my gosh, is it trying to replace us? What is our role here? But the takeaway with AI Create for creators out there is that we're definitely not trying to replace you. Matter of fact, we're trying to enable your highest level of self-expression and creative expression with Galaxy AI. So it's really an enhancer, a catalyst for you to become even bigger and experiment with that, and not a replacement. So if you take away nothing else, just take away that.
Okay, cool. I'm creating, popping like 5K followers.
Pop it,
Every time I
5K.
post, we got like 30 comments. Everyone is liking the vibes.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you're doing well. But I realized no one is giving me the opportunities as yet, right? The work is there. It's been like 6 months. I'm doing well. The followers are there. Everything's picking up. Brands are not hitting me up the way I thought they would. Once I posted a mock-up campaign, once I posted this, once I did some work with that, once I went to that event and did the content around that. How can someone who's trying to position themselves to work with brands, I wouldn't say from a Samsung POV, I'd say from your history as a creative in entrepreneurship and dealing with people who are creators on a daily basis, your personal take, what would the tips be? Say, actually, this is what would make you align.
Shoot your shot, right? Shoot your shot. I'm never gonna turn anybody shooting their shot down. But try and approach it a little bit different and not make it about you so much. You know, brands have KPIs and goals and objectives that they're trying to reach anyway, right?
How do we get KPIs as people are outside the club trying to get inside?
You're gonna ask, right? That's why when you're sending through your said proposal, you don't just come with a POV with this is what I want to do, sponsor me, can I have a phone? It is, hi, this is what I do, this is what I can do, but what are you working towards and how can I give you a solution? Then you've already changed the whole sort of mind frame already, where you're not sort of turning us so bad when you phone, or I want a fridge or whatever. You're actually asking, with what I do, how can I help you gear towards your goals? Because at the end of the day, I guess it is a and B coming together to make C type of situation. So if you already come through with okay, how can I help you via this? I think that's a better approach.
Whole lot. I just love that. It's always the pitch. You never ask at the end that.
No.
What are you actually trying to get to at this point?
Exactly.
But now here's the bigger question, right? I send you this proposal. My DM says scene. It breaks my heart. Just a bit. It breaks my heart. You know yourselves. We've sent you emails. You don't reply. How do I pester you without pestering you? Like, hey, please see me. Because I understand sometimes as people who work at these companies, you also have personal lives. Sometimes you're busy. Maybe I sent you DM at probably the worst time ever within your current workload.
Yeah.
It's not that you don't think it aligns. You read it, you're like, this is great. Then there was a crisis and then you forgot about me.
Yeah.
How do I get back to you? How do I get your attention again?
Be consistent in what you're doing, you know, which is telling me that, or trying to sell to me, be consistent with it, because the chances are we're looking out anyway. So if you saying, no, I'm losing, I'm doing this, and you keep pestering me and you're seeing that kind of hasn't bitten yet, back to basics and stay consistent in what you're doing there, because it really will catch the eye. And I would say, if nothing else, do that. Because it does get hectic.
Okay, we're gonna heckle the brands.
Don't try and make it all about yourself, Loze. I know that's hard. But
that's what makes us Gen Zs. That's what makes us the future lab.
Or
it's about us. We're trying to create and take it to the next generation.
We're
With all the amazing work you guys are doing.
Yeah.
You speak about AI Create. Care to expound to the audience who will soon find out what we're trying to do together?
Yeah.
It's more than the podcast, by the way.
It's way more than a podcast, right? It is a creative partnership. And it's coming to life in the form of podcast episodes. But really, at the end of the day, we're just, again, trying to make sure that we enable your creative self-expression to the highest level by putting our best devices in your hands and letting you do your thing, right? But not just that, you also get to experience the journeys of super cool creatives, how they've been navigating this world of being a creative in this sort of crazy economy, the devices they use, and how they execute creative tasks like Sana and Shanae's tasks. And then you can hear from them at the workshops, actually.
I'll ask that question you're nervous about. I'll ask it. Trust me.
You can hear from them at the workshops. They can take you through the creative process itself.
But like, I'm sitting at home. I'm thinking, okay, cool. Sana's gonna shoot the film. What happens beyond that point? Like this workshop, what's happening? Are we watching the film on a Samsung? What can people expect?
So,
how does the journey go for like a creative? Because we can look at, I can shoot the phone, I can edit on the phone, right? I can do everything on the phone. How do I take the story to the next level? How does my Galaxy actually open in AI?
Oh, look at you. You're feeling embarrassed.
Question.
So let me tell you from Sana and Shanae's POV. You know, Shanae has she's moving into the world of digital art. She has a super fashion like aesthetic about her and creative direction. So her using the Galaxy S24 Ultra and the frame kind of extends itself almost authentically to what she's trying to do. So she gets to shoot on the phone, create her art, and then display it in like on the frame, which I know you spoke to me about the usurper activations before, and you really loved how you got to see the frame there.
Yes.
Now you get to see it through her POV. It's going to live on the workshops. You'll get to come through and see what exactly she executed, and she can tell you how. So you'll get to unpack the creative process, and then in your mind, maybe start thinking about your own creative process and how you could use Galaxy AI and all of our consumer electronics to, knock out your creative task.
I have a very interesting question.
That was an interesting question. You have another interesting question.
What's the value of content when it pertains to brands? Because you're like, okay, cool, I have these many followers, I have this much impact. But what's the actual value? Because if we're being realistic, right, as creators, we bridge the narrative, right? But we don't move sales at that rapid of a pace. Why do brands find so much interest in doing content with creators?
It's the engagement, right? And it all starts with how it resonates with you at first. Because if I follow you on your platform, you're essentially, especially with Gen Zs, I followed you because I trust you in that particular subject. You are, in my mind, you have the authority to speak about that. I've seen what you've been doing. So if you suddenly start posting about a Samsung, there definitely must have been an alignment and a value in it. So I'm going to engage with that. And in my mind, it starts sort of opening up the possibilities for what I could do within my particular niche. So it's that super authentic engagement that you get from creators and the content that they make, because content has to relate, especially with Gen Zs. They'll move right past content that doesn't hit any of their particular pillars. So if I'm engaging with your content, that means it's some part of me that it's hitting. So subliminally in the black of my mind, it's not because it's my favorite color, in the back of my mind, I'm starting to picture myself within what you're showing me. Oh, you use a Samsung? You were able to do this? What if I come through and do it this way? Because I'm actually trying to do this. And the more consistent, again, the consistency of it all just makes me start picturing myself within what you're trying to do, what you're showcasing me. So content is king.
Most important question on Corner Judan de Beer, brought to you by the good folks at Samsung.
Hey, let's go.
Someone is gonna, it's my trend soon.
You want to see it on TikTok?
This might trend soon.
Seen it dance.
What's your words to the youth?
Don't grow up. It's an entire trap. Stay youthful, and I know you're gonna grow up by force.
Nah,
right?
and I need the brand. I need the brand word to the youth. I need the brand word.
We were segueing into that
I
one.
need the brand word.
But first, stay creative at all times. Stay consistent in what you do, and collaborate, because it's actually through collaborations that we ended up here. Stay creative, stay consistent, stay collaborating. Are those 3 C's? And there we go.
How do you measure if a campaign collaboration was actually successful? Because everyone's gonna be like, yo, Buzzy, we saw you with Samsung. You know, with Samsung, what's happening? What are the measures when campaigns don't go as expected?
Well, I guess it would depend on what the ROI that we set up was supposed to be. And it differs with each campaign. Sometimes we're just setting up campaigns from an awareness POV. We wanted people to know about what it is. So if I was able to reach X amount of people, then we've hit that tick that was successful. Sometimes we measure campaigns on the actual engagement and the engagement rate there, which brings us back to, were people asking the questions? Did people want to know more? Did people not just double tap, but were they commenting? Did they like it? What were the questions that they asked me? Did it pique something in their brains? And if my campaign was based on an engagement rate, then that would also be a tick there. So it really just depends on what you're trying to do with the particular campaign. It differs with each one.
What are the tiers of collaboration that creators could find themselves in? Because sometimes we think, I just need 5 million. Give me 5 million. Yeah. That's the only way to collaborate. What are the different tiers someone can look at possibly in the future?
I think there's only one tier, and you just have to be open to everything expanding, because you come with one idea and it snowballs into something completely different. So for me, that is the tier. Keep your mind open to expansion, and that your itty bitty little idea could actually turn into something super big. Don't hold on to just that one idea and not want to let go because, oh no, the integrity of my creativity, and to a certain extent, definitely you don't have to dilute that. But really be open to the fact that things change. And I said this before, that A comes together to meet B, and we make C, and things really do snowball and become super different, bigger than what you might have thought of.
Quality Turned to Beer, Fawziya Sofiana, brought to you by the good folks at
Samsung.
Catching on. Comment, AI, create, like and subscribe. See you at comment.